The average American student in American colleges today has $2,000 worth of credit card debt, learning to be consumers and live lives of indebtedness. And indebtedness in the Islamic tradition is a type of servitude. It's a type of slavery. It's something that our Prophet sought refuge from. وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ خَرَبَةِ الدَّيْنِ وَقَهْرِ الرِّجَالِ. I seek refuge in you from overwhelming debt, from being overwhelmed by debt. But this is something people don't understand anymore. People buy beyond their means. This is the American way. It wasn't always the American way. America was once a country of thrift. It was a country of saving. Everybody had savings accounts. They didn't know about this spending, shop until you drop. When World War II was going on, President Roosevelt told people to be patriotic by conserving, by growing gardens in their backyard, by recycling. When the war on terror began, people were encouraged to be patriotic by going out and shopping. This is risking your dollars. Economic injustice. The people that took these mortgages from people that were not creditworthy, what did they do with those mortgages? They sold them to overseas investors. They sold them to overseas investors. This is greed and venality at its worst. And the problem is Jesse James and Frank James or Al Capone aren't robbing the banks anymore. They're on the bank boards. That's what's happening. This is America. And American people deserve better than they're being given. The next thing that the Prophet ﷺ identified was racism. And racism doesn't go away. A leopard's spots might fade, but they don't change. Racism is a major problem today in this country, a country in which a civil war was fought over the issue of slavery. And it wasn't until 100 years later that those people were enfranchised with civil rights, and yet we're still not there. We've come a long way, and it's undeniable, but we're still not there. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ meant when he said there's no preference of an Arab over a non-Arab, or a non-Arab over an Arab, or a white man over a black man, or a black man over a white man, except in piety. And I challenge anyone to show me a historical personage who came with this dictate before the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because I don't believe there is one. This is one of the unique gifts of Islam to the world. And Arnold Toynbee said one of the great gifts of Islam to the world was the brotherhood of man. Truly introducing the brotherhood of man. Because it wasn't done in Christianity. Blacks were the accursed descendants of Ham for centuries in Christianity. The most vociferous supporters of the slave trade in this country were some of the most religious people. Rabbis and Christians that wrote tracts on why slavery, the enslavement of black people, was not only biblical, it was natural. Islam never produced this type of slavery. Ever. There was never any servitude based on race. Islam came to promote the brotherhood, the sisterhood of humanity. And this is why Islam has raised and elevated us up from tribes to Bani Adam, to the tribe of Adam and Eve. This is what we're called in the Quran, Banu Adam. We are all brothers and sisters and cousins. And this is a message. If you want to serve humanity, take that message out to humanity, that we're all brothers and sisters. We are the human family. This is one family. And this message needs to get out to the people, because racism is killing us. We have a world of haves and have-nots, which is largely still based on color. Whether people want to deny it or not, it is a fact of life that the majority of brown people and black people are living in subhuman conditions. There are 1 billion people in slums today living on this planet. 1 out of every 6 people is living in a slum. In a slum. 1 out of every 6 people, and we're spending $500 billion on armaments. We're spending $500 billion on bombs. This is going to secure us in a world increasingly becoming insecure because of the disparity between the haves and the have-nots. We need a global Marshall Plan. America can be great in the way that it rebuilt Europe if we direct our energies towards helping other places in the world, not to bomb them out of existence, not to destroy their infrastructures, but to enhance their lives, to bring potable water to them. This is what America should be about. This is a country with gifts that are beyond belief. And with great gifts come great responsibility. And I believe that the Muslim community is in this country today to remind America to be America. To remind this country to be America, because America has forgotten its way. We've gone astray. And if you don't see it, and Mr. President, and there's people here that represent the administration, that's fine. Welcome. We welcome you. We have nothing to hide. We're not a secret society. Our agendas aren't hidden. We don't have secret meetings at night. You're tapping most of our phones, and you know what we're talking about. We're talking about being hassled at the airport. But, Mr. President, close down Guantanamo Bay. That is not America. Close it down. Shut it down. Mr. Padillo had a civil court trial, had representation, and it proved that they can do it through the process of law, due process of law. That's what America's about. It's not about extraordinary rendition. It's not about having a black bag put over your head and shoved in the back of a van and suddenly finding yourself in some Eastern Bloc country with a prison cell, in a frozen cell, being interrogated by people that you wonder whether they had a mother when they were growing up. That's not America. That's not the America that I know. That's not the America that I learned about in my civics courses. That's not the America that I learned about in my civics courses. That's not the America that I learned about. We need to end the fact that we can have a Time magazine headliner, the torture question, as if it's a question. Since when did torture become a question? Because 1,400 years ago, our prophet prohibited torture. And if we haven't caught up with that edict yet, we're way, way behind. America was founded on dignity. It was founded on breaking away from the European yoke of tyranny. That's what America's about. It's taken a while for Americans to get used to the fact that that's not just about white people. It's about all people, but they're getting used to it. It's time we reminded this country once again, torture is not American. Torture is not American. And these young men that were released and sent back to Britain, British citizens, Canadian citizens, this poor man, Mr. Arar, who was kidnapped and taken to Syria and tortured. His wife said he came back like a shell of a man. And this country has yet to apologize. We need to apologize. There's nothing wrong with apologizing. When you do something wrong, there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. That's being American. That's being American. You want to know what an American is? That's being American. Willingness to admit your mistakes, redress your wrongs. That's what the Civil War was about. That was what the apology to the Japanese that were interned during World War II was about. We apologize to those people because this country made an egregious mistake by taking people because of the way they look and putting them in internment camps thinking that they were a threat to this country. During the World War II, many German Americans were accused of being Nazis. Not one single German American that was arrested during that time was proven to have any connection with Nazi Germany. Where are all these people that have been detained and interned? They all didn't pan out because you are American Muslims. This is American Islam. Law-abiding people productive members of the society. People that if they packed up and left today, there would be a health care crisis in this country. There would be a crisis of physicians. People would find that their cardiac surgeon wasn't available. People whose life depends on these people suddenly would feel jeopardized. The governor of Ohio said he'd have a health care crisis if the Muslim doctors packed up and left. Muslim Americans are providing great services. That's just one area. How many engineers? And I'll guarantee you there wasn't a Muslim engineer that built that bridge that collapsed. And I challenge anybody to go look and find out if there was a, because we have Muslim engineers that built Sears Tower. Seriously, that building is a testimony to Muslim engineering. And if you'll trust a Muslim to build a building that tall, you're trusting Muslims. If you're going to climb up that building, even though a Muslim built it, he didn't build it for any engineered obsolescence. He built it to last, because that was a Muslim committed to excellence, and that's what this community is about. Our community is growing. It's changing. We have immense potential in this community. And look around at these young people, because they're bold, young people that are emerging into a new America, and they're going to be part of forging a new America. And I'm looking forward to that place. I'm looking forward to a place when the Khadijas out there, and the Abdullahs, and the Ahmeds, and the Zainabs, when they begin to move into the positions of power and authority in this country, having in their hearts a commitment to truth, justice, and the Islamic way, which does not negate the American way, if it's an American way that's true to its own principles.